Howdy, y'all. It's Cody from the Keepers of Nerddom. How you doing? And we're going to have at least one more video after this one on the Adeptus Custodes, kind of an bigger overview and looking at the data sheets themselves. Probably tomorrow we're going to film that one. This one is going back to the Talons of the Emperor to see really the full review of it and also talk about some point costs. Obviously, there's been some changes to the data sheets, but honestly, most of them have been more negatives than actually positives. So let's go through the full picture of this because I think this is an important note. We didn't get in the preview on Monday, the full scope, I think it was Tuesday, of what this thing did. And it wasn't good. It didn't give us the full picture because ironically, I think this may very well be the strongest of the detachments based on what we now see. And it's not actually entirely a good thing because it's actually got a significant weakness, even though it's much better than what it looked like with the preview. Let's get into it, all right? So let's read through the Talons of the Emperor, the detachment rule we know about. Anathemas Iconic units from your armory gain the following ability. They get the Null Aegis Aura, while an Adeptus Custodes unit is within 6 inches of this unit. Models in that unit have the 5-up Feel No Pain against psychic attacks and mortal wounds. Not devastating wounds, just mortal. And then the Adeptus Custodes units gain the following ability. They have an aura of while an Anathemas Icona unit is within 6 inches of this unit. Each time a model in the Anathemas Icona makes an attack, add 1 to the hit roll. So it makes them better. From everything we can tell, though, in the data sheets, the Anathemas Icona are still going to probably be Toughness 3 because their leaders are still Toughness 3. More likely still 1 wound. So there's still some limits here. All right, our enhancements. Now we actually get to see all 4. Radiant Mantle, Adeptus Custodes model only. Each time an attack targets the bearer's unit, if the attacking model is within 12 inches, subtract 1 from the hit roll. So if they get closer here, they get harder to hit. Interesting. Adeptus Custodes model only, Gift of Terror and Artifice. Each time the bearer makes a melee attack, add 1 to the wound roll. I mean, that's good for a leader, I guess. Like, the first 2 aren't bad. Nothing terrible there. So, Champion of the Imperium, Adeptus Custodes model only. The range of the bearer's Null Aegis or Deadly Units ability, see left, is increased to 9 inches. Problem is, though, the other group that you're targeting, they still have theirs at 6 inches. So I don't understand how this actually benefits you entirely. Granted, it could get you like, hey, I can have this Anathemas Icona that I really don't need the bonus from the other guy to get +1 on a hit roll, and I want to hide back here. So I guess that is the good news, is you get extra 3 inches to stay behind a wall and give out that Feel No Pain against psychic and mortals. Anyway, kind of interesting. I don't know. Has some limits. Aegis Projector, Adeptus Custodes model only once per turn. The first time a saving throw has failed for the bearer's unit, change the damage characteristic of that attack to 0. Okay, this is crazy sauce, but if you're playing a smart opponent, they're going to make sure the small fire goes into those things with that leader that has that, just to get that 1 damage to pop that save thing and go up. It's the 1 damage is now a 0. And now I hit you with my 3 damage attacks from my big artilleries, my big tanks, that kind of stuff. That's the thing, is it is cool. That is really, really awesome. But a good player is going to be like, I know how to get around that, and it's not that hard. So, I don't know. Kind of weird. Let's continue on here, and we go over... Oh, those are the point values. All right. Our stratagems for this section, and lots of their battle tactics, but somebody was saying if you only target with 1, you can get the 0 CP stuff, but if you target 2, you wouldn't actually get to use the 0 CP stuff from the shield captain. So, because 1, 2, 3, 4 of them are actually battle tactic stratagems, which is really good. 1 is 2 CP, the Emperor's Executioners. We've seen the Talons Interlocked and Talons Pincer, if memory serves. And those were really pretty solid abilities, except for the fact that Anathemas Icona, but whatever. Every single one of these has that same restriction of you can select 2 units, but one of them has to be an Anathemas Icona they're within 6 inches of each other, so they have to work together. All right, and yeah, the only weird exception is the Shield of Honor here, and it still has the same limitation. We'll get to it. Just the wording is weird, and same with Empiric Severance in a way. Its wording is weird, but it's still the same thing. All right, so Hunt as one. When the start of your movement phase, target up to 2 Adeptus Custodes units from your army. Effect until the end of your turn. Your units are eligible to shoot and or declare a charge in a turn in which they fell back. And you can select 2, but one of them has to be an Ethos Icona, and both within 6. Okay. That's amazing to fall back, still shoot, still charge for 2 units. Pretty crazy. Awesome stuff. That's good. That's really good. All right. Emperor's Executioners, 2, because then that would give them the Fight's First ability back right there. That's how you get it through this. Pretty cool. Okay. Emperor's Executioners, start of the fight phase, up to 2 Adeptus Custodes units. Obviously, one has to be an Ethos Icona. Effect until the end of the phase. Each time a model in one of your units targets an enemy unit that is below its starting strength, add 1 to the wound roll. For 2 CPs, that's weird. And it's already below starting strength. I mean, if you're needing it to like damage a tank or something that you've already gotten at least the damage on somewhere, this would be useful. But 2 CPs, wow. Whew. That's rough. But if you could turn that down to 0 for just a Custodes squad, I think it works. But yeah. Talons Interlock we've seen before, but in your shooting phase, up to 2 Custodes infantries. Was it infantries up there too? No, it's just Custodes units for that. Dang. From your army, because that could be a tank up there. Interesting. That could be actually really useful when you need it. Up to 2 Adeptus Custodes infantry units from your army and 1 enemy unit is an eligible target for all of those units. Effect until the end of the phase. Your units can only target that enemy unit, but each time each time a model in one of your units makes a ranged attack, improve the strength and AP by 1. Yeah, that's good. I mean, it's a good ability, and it can give you 2 groups getting it. So a Custodes and then the Icona. This is neat. And then Talon Pincer, we've seen before. Your opponent's movement phase just after an enemy unit ends a normal move, advance, or fall back. 2 Custodes units that are within 9 inches of that enemy unit. One has to be an Ethos Icona if you do it with 2. Your units can make a normal move of up to 6 inches. Bonkers good, too. Why we were so down about this whole faction, though, was because you have to take the Sisters of Silence, and they're going to be easy to get rid of. What we'll see, though, in here is one of these stratagems actually makes this much more viable, much more playable, much actually more interesting, and may very well be the faction, the detachment to take for the Custodes. All right, Empiric Severance. When your opponent's shooting phase or the fight phase just after an enemy unit has selected its targets, target 1 Adeptus Custodes unit from your army that was selected as a target of one or more of the attacking unit's attacks, and 1 friendly Ethos Iconic unit within 6 inches of that Adeptus Custodes unit. So you have to select the unit you're actually targeting with it, and then make sure that an Ethos Icon is nearby to give the thing. Until the end of the phase, your unit has the Feel No Pain 4-up ability against psychic attacks and mortal wounds. So instead of a 5-up, you get a 4-up. Okay. I don't know. I don't know what to think about that, because you go from a 5-up that you're getting anyway on the Custodes. Let's go back for a second. Let's just share here. Yeah, it's Custodes unit, so it could be a tank too. That's interesting. Very interesting. Very interesting indeed. So you're already giving a 5-up, so then you'd upgrade it to a 4-up. But it's still not against devastating wounds. Very weird. Very, very weird. And you could technically do it to another Ethos Icona, but the other side, you have to have another Icona unit within 6 inches of that. Are you within 6 inches of yourself? I don't know. This would be a weird 1 friendly Ethos Icona unit. I wonder if you could target yourselves. It's very interesting. You may be able to somehow. It'd be kind of funny to see if that works like that. But lastly, Shield of Honor, and this is where things get really interesting. When your opponent's shooting phase, just after an enemy unit has selected its targets, you target 1 Ethos Icona infantry unit from your army that was selected as the target of one or more of the attacking unit's attacks, and 1 other friendly Adeptus Custodes infantry unit, excluding an Ethos Icona units within 6 inches of them. Until the end of the phase, so this one does have to be Custodes infantry, so if you had a tank guarding, getting the bonuses from them, then this would be bad, and it would not be a good thing, because it wouldn't work. So until the end of the phase, any attack that targets your Ethos Icona unit must instead target your other Adeptus Custodes unit unless it is not an eligible target. And this isn't a battle tactic stratagem, which is good because otherwise it would be crazy sauce. But this gets interesting because you can actually protect your Anathema Icona and force them to target the Custodes. You know, take your shields on your Custodes boys just to keep it to where it's even harder to ever chew through them to get to the very people that that truly are the things giving out the boosts that you want. Very interesting. Very, very interesting. Huh. Weird. I think this is the one, though, that really sells it. And what we've actually seen now is that these truly are really pretty strong. Like, the Hunt is one is massive. The Shield of Honor is massive. These Talons, Interlocked, and Pincer can be actually really solid things. It's just that question of how they're used, right? So let's talk about point values. Now, this is a weird one because, and we need to just say it right now as we get ready to do this. Okay, these are from the book. They are not, more than likely not going to be anything that we actually see at all ever, and they're not active right now at all. But I think it's an important note to say, here's, based on the design of this book, what was said to be the points cost for these people. And it's some weird stuff. So first off, though, the Talons of the Emperor, the Radiant Mantle, 30 points from what we just saw. Gifted Terran Artifice, 15, 25 for Champion of the Imperium, and Aegis Projector for 20. Radiant Mantle for 30 points. I'm sorry, but stuff's going to target you from more than 12 inches on purpose just so you're going to waste 30 points. Good gracious. But I mean, I guess once you get in close, it's good for you. But wow, Champion of the Imperium, what did that do? Increased to 9 inches. Yikes. Add 1 to the wound roll for, oh my word, 15 points. Gifts of Terran Artifice is the cheapest one, and it's actually one of the best ones in a way. Aegis Projector 2 could be useful, but man, expensive. All right, so let's look at point values. We're going to zoom in here so we just get a good look at it, and we'll just run through real fast. Like, what was it that these were actually supposed to be compared to what our Munitorum Field menu says they are right now? Alea was 80 points both times, so no change there. But the thing is, everything got less powerful without the 4 up against Mortal Wounds and Devastating Wounds. Okay, just keep that in mind. And this detachment we just talked about can give a 5 up Feel No Pain against Mortal Wounds and Psychic attacks, but not Devastating Wounds. Okay, so everything's just weaker. Okay, Alaris Custodians at the max is obviously 420 here, but it's 390 currently, so up by 30 points. And we'll try to run through the data sheets in the next video we do, but most of the stuff actually loses things rather than gains. Anathema Icona Rhino, it is 75 points currently, and in the updated stuff, it is 80. Insane. Okay, and the Blade Champion was currently is 120, and in the book is 120. Custodian Guard in the book is 280, and they're 225 currently. Seriously? That's crazy. Okay, so in the book, the Custodian Wardens were 325 points. Currently, they're 250. It's insane. The Knights Centura does not change. Prosecutors in the book are 110. They are currently 100. So they would go up by 10 points for 10. 1 point each. This is crazy. Shield Captain is 160 in the book and currently is 140. Shield Captain in Alar's Terminator armor is 160 and is 140 currently. Shield Captain of Dawn Eagle Jet Bike in the book is 180 points and currently is 140. You see the problem here? Like, that these should never even have seen the light of day to even show in a book at all, because it just says somebody was designing this and thinking it was okay and good and would actually work, and this is not a workable thing at all in any way. All right, Trajan Valoris was 160 currently, and in the book is 180 points, up 20 in this. Valerian is currently 115, and in the book is 140. Venerable Contemptor Dreadnought, it was and still is 185 in both things. Venerable Landlater in the book is 260 points and currently is 240. Virtus Praetors in the book are 300 points for 3 of them, so 100 points apiece. In the current, they are 225 for 3, 75 point increase for the 3 of them. Insanity. Vigilators, 10 of them, 170 points in the book. Currently, there are 130 points for 10 of them. 40 point increase for 10 models. That's 4 points per model. Insanity. Insanity. Witch Seekers, they are currently 125 points, and in the book, as shown, is 130 points. Holy cow, and we don't have anything of the Forge World stuff, which is ironically a ton of their stuff over here in their Munitorium Field Manual. Yeah, this is bad. Obviously, again, I will say it one more time. This will not be the things that will actually show up in the game, because these are not going to be real, especially with the fact that Custodes weren't just winning all the games prior to this book. They were doing well after they got back their 4-up Feel No Pain against Mortal Wounds and Devastating Wounds. So when they took it down just Mortal Wounds, whew, that was big. But if these were to see the light of day even for 2 months, this would make, it would make Custodes insane bad, just bad. Not insane good, just insane bad. And the problem too is if you take the Talons of the Emperor Detachment, you have to keep in mind you don't get actually as many of the actual Custodes units that you would take in other groups, such as the Shield Host or the Auric Champions kind of thing. You have to take Sisters of Silence as part of this, which means there's 100 points here, 100 points there, 100, depending on what point values end up actually being, you have to take more. So even though it's a strong detachment as far as the abilities, you actually have less models on the field that are really effective, because you have to add almost this like kind of hero unit to the unit nearby them to function with them, to help them, to get them moving and going, to keep them buffed, and to get the extra benefits of everything that's going on in the codex for that detachment. So could you play that detachment without the Psychonas? You could, but you're going to miss out on your bonuses of the 5-up Feel No Pain against Psychic and Mortal Wounds. And then the potential extra movement and attack shenanigans that can benefit 2 groups instead of just 1. It's just such a weird thing, because it's going to cost you more. And then if these point values were to ever exist, your force on the field is going to shrink drastically, because just the fact that Alaris Custodians on here, 420 points, and they were 390, right? In the current, like right now, and still are. Custodian Guard are 225 currently for 5 models and 280 in here. It's funny, the 4 models cost is the same cost as in the book as 5 in the current right now. It's insane. Yeah, this is just who thought of this 75 point increase on the Custodian Warriors for 5 models? Who thought this was okay, and how long ago was this written, right? That's the other question always that I've been saying for Necrons and even the Tau, just that wondering, especially Necrons, that was probably written before the indexes were actually done. And Tau makes me wonder too, and then seeing this, you go, when was this written? Did they even look at the index? Because something just doesn't quite make sense of the changes that they did. We haven't even looked at the data sheets. So what do you think about this? Obviously, these point values will not exist in this way, because they always say in here now that these will not be the official point values. You have to look online for them, and they more than likely will not have anything directly to do with what we see. But somebody thought, based on this codex, these were appropriate point values for what they had put out. Custodes with these point values and playing these detachments and stuff wouldn't win games. I mean, maybe against AdMech, maybe. Otherwise, it would just be an absolute slaughter fest. It would be bad. So let me know down in the comments below, what do you think about the Talons detachment and these point costs that we just get to see as kind of this concept there in the book? Yeah, what do you think? Thank you so much for hanging out with me. Like, share, and subscribe. I've been Cody from the Keepers of Nerddom, and thank you again. This has been a fun thing to really look at and study out as it's been rolling out over this past week. I've been Cody from the Keepers of Nerddom. Like, share, and subscribe. Thank you so much. Bye.